hi everyone. Very nice to see all of you here and not enjoying your early lunch break. My name is Olesia and I'm CEO at Flight3, and I am joined today by Anthony Dave from VeChain and Mo from theMiracle. Before we will talk about exciting influencer marketing, I want to ask you, how many of you really believe that we should be investing into KOLs today? If you can raise your hands.
Peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure.
Okay, well, half of the room. How many of you are influencers?
All right, now this is a good one, right? How many of you post on behalf of your business or your passion on a social media platform at least once a week?
Okay.
All right, pretty much everybody.
And how many of you got paid for it?
Okay. No. That's great. Now we know you.
Does it count that it's my job?
All right, so that was a warm-up. What we want to talk today is actually how influencer marketing changed over the past year, and how we're looking to receive much more than just top of the funnel metrics. That is exciting, but how you can actually get ROI from it, okay? So my first warm-up question to our panelists is, how did it change? Like, what was new this year?
Wow, that's a good start. I think it might be worth just qualifying what do we mean by KOL to the audience, right? I think it's in our title, and the term always kind of jives with me a little bit because, you know, key opinion leader can mean an awful lot of things, right? It can mean a politician, it can mean somebody with high standing in society, or it can mean somebody who posts charts of crypto every couple of days and saying buy, 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 sell, sell, sell. I've often looked at this as saying there are content creators, there are people who create content for audiences that will help us to communicate a message or to help others to understand what it is we do, right? People get a little bit bored of hearing corporate type of content, corporate type of marketing, or if you position it in the way that your legal team only ever allows, you're not necessarily going to be able to tell the same story, or you're not going to be able to tell the story in the same way with empathy that you might otherwise be able to through another human who's like, hey, I just found this thing. Let me tell you why I care about it. And so that for me is a content creator, right? Somebody who takes a topic, has a particular passion for it, and shares it out. And Mo, I think you had another acronym for the version that is at the other end of the spectrum, right? Which is?
I think I called it PCOL, is a paid clients opinions leader. So actually they come on X, they come to social, and they communicate about a product, about a paid client, right? So it's not really a key opinion, because in his definition, I really like it because those are people that are from the space. They really are very knowledgeable about it. They see something very valuable for their followers, and they share it. So that is really, for me, a key opinion leader. But if someone just shares what he get paid for, it's not a key opinion. It's just like, it's just an ad, right?
That's an important distinction. So why would you engage with others to kind of promote your product or to help you yourself grow? Is they have an audience that you think is interesting, or that you are interested to target, right? Web3 is quite a diverse audience. It spreads off into a whole bunch of different places. But at a certain point in time, particularly for projects that have been around for a little while, you're probably going to saturate your audience, right? Your ability to grow just by doing the same stuff, posting on your own channels, is probably going to run out of road, because everyone who's found you will find you at this point. Anyone who doesn't want you isn't going to look for you anymore, and so you've got to try and find new paths to growth. So pockets of audience that will or should have high relevance to you or the product you've built is where you go looking for growth. Now the hard thing is finding meaningful ones that you can actually activate, because bots, for one thing, that's a hard part of it. So what's changed is bots. What's also changed is potentially the authenticity of the content. So people will produce and churn out content of, you know, I'm reading through a newsletter of a recent press release and I'm getting really excited about it, wearing my sunglasses and shouting buy, 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 sell, sell, sell. It's like, okay, well, what you're now at this point doing, rather than creating content, you're narrating a press release with hype. And at some point, I'm not sure if you're then getting the empathy and the message. So people listening to this is like, oh my God, either do as you're told, humble audience, and go and buy the things I tell you to. In this case, again, are we really reaching an audience with integrity or that has intent? And I guess the final thing is the platforms are absolutely murdering content creators' reach right now, which sucks.
I was waiting for it, for the platforms actually. How do you think that they, sorry Mo, you will be. How do you think that they changed? Because like it was predominantly X for over the years now, and it's LinkedIn. Now everyone wants to be on TikTok and Instagram as well, so.
Yeah, I think a friend of mine, Keir Finlow Bates, calls this the enshittification or the enshittening of platforms. Before, the platforms would happily give you reach. If you wanted to post something to your audience, you'd be able to get more impressions than your existing audience, which meant that the platform was promoting your content and pushing it to other people in case they're interested. So you might see 2 times, 3 times, 10 times the number of impressions for a post that you have from your audience because the platform was promoting it. Nowadays, if I look at some posts that I put out, whereas I used to see something like 250,000 impressions for a nice post or a video on a Monday, if I get 10, 20K now, I'm like, okay, that's probably where it's going to get to. So 1/5 of my audience gets to see my content. And the algorithm, at least on LinkedIn, is primed to show you my content if you work with me, if you've sent me a message in the last 2 weeks, or if you've liked one of my recent posts. And so there is an entire swathe of the audience, and you can imagine that cycles around, right? So if people start not seeing your stuff, and then don't like your stuff, and then don't message you, and then don't, obviously aren't your colleagues, you've just got this constant spiraling decrease and decline in people seeing your content because of the way the platform algorithm is defined. And as a result, as an organic content creator, if you crave attention, you have to pay them money. Or you accept that actually my reach or my ability to reach an audience on social media platforms now is declining, and that's just the way it is. The effectiveness of me as an ability to get messages out, to get educational content to people who should care about Web3 is 1/10, 1/4 of what it was 2-3 years ago when the platforms were desperate for reach and engagement and people and creators. Now they're like, no, we just want B2B SaaS money. You guys who are out here trying to build an audience or trying to do something meaningful in the world, if you want to grow on our platforms, you've got to pay for it. And so you've got to have somebody else pay you to then pay us to then grow your audience. And that's how Microsoft and Meta and all of those out there are changing the dynamics of things financially, which I don't know if it's a bad thing. You could argue that that may not feel very fair, especially if you're a content creator who's used to having it better. But if that's your business day to day, you've got to play the game.
So what I'm hearing from both of you, that it's harder and harder to find new audience, the authentic audience, to reach to them in case you want to do it organically.
Yeah, I see also the problematic before you said that if you are interested in the KOL's audience. Do you really know the audience of the KOL? Does the project or the brand is really looking into the audience of the KOL?
If you're good, yes. So some of the work that we do with Flight 3 and some of our other colleagues is, because we know that the first post that a content creator is going to put out is probably not going to be seen by a lot of their audience, we do profiling on their audiences. We look at what percentage of their audience is likely to be bots. We can look at how many people post comments underneath, and then we also look at the integrity and quality of those posts. And the nice thing about the AI era we live in now is that we can actually make an assessment of what proportion of the posts' content underneath these KOLs' audiences' posts are generated by AI. So you're actually seeing how much is the bot army actually engaged versus just bots on bots on bots, or humans acting like bots because they won't reach themselves because of the enshittening. And so you see this constant cycle of enshittening. But the nice thing about AI and the amount of open data that social allows you to find is that you can actually be quite precise if you choose to be. If you're more naive about it and saying, well, if I go and post with, Crypto Dragon 69420 because he's got 10,000 people following him, that should be great. We'll go do that for a couple of months and that'll help us grow. And you're not curious about actually the effectiveness of how you do that, and that you're not retargeting or reactivating that audience afterwards, you're just wasting money.
But for me, the question is, let's say you find out that they're not mostly bots. How do you really want to know how is the spending power of the audience? So it's like we live in a data-driven world, right? We work with AI, but are we using literally AI to target the audience that we want? Like if we're working with KOLs,
I think you can use the tools to get more precise. Honestly speaking, no marketing is ever a guarantee of sales. Whether you like it or not, you have to have much, much more than that. You're hoping that at least the wider your funnel is, the more you have the opportunity to bring people through it. At some point, you'll create so much top of funnel that you'll never be able to convert because you don't know who half of that audience will never sell or will never buy from you, right? You could get 100 million people interested in the UFC, but none of them will ever actually go to a fight because they live in Bangladesh or they live in Indonesia, and they're not going to travel to Madison Square Garden to watch someone get punched in the face. They're just not. So you can't activate that from that sort of sales perspective. But in crypto, you can buy Bitcoin for $0.01, bro. Yeah.
I think it's all about expectations. So there are different channels in marketing that we're using to measure ROI and to bring ROI, and there are different stages of the channel. So which stage of the channel, of the funnel, you know that I like to call it funnel, the influencer marketing really sits in? Where are they? Are they exposures? Are they the ones that are driving stakes?
I really want it to be conversion.
I know you want for a year now.
I think it can be a little bit of everything, but then you've got to understand, are you spending effectively for what you're trying to do? So if you're trying to get awareness from a micro creator who has an audience of 10,000 people, that might be great if your expectation is I only need 500 customers, and I want them to be really specific about the thing that I do. There is a particular software platform, or I build infrastructure that sits underneath DEXs. So 99.9% of the people in the room here, I don't care about. But there are five DEXs whose stakeholders that I do want to reach, so then I need to find out how to get hold of them. Well, I'm probably not going to choose Crypto Dragon 420 to reach those people. I'm probably actually just going to go directly to them on LinkedIn. Or I'm probably just going to try and find them through my network, because there's such a small amount of people that I want to target that it makes no sense to go broadcast or to go as wide as we do. If you have a crypto, if you're a layer one, or if you have a wallet and that everybody can use, it's much more different. So from a Web3 perspective, you're saying, okay, there's 100,000 angry degens, I want to reach as many of them as possible, and I want to get differentiation. That can work, by and large. And so what you want then is your creator not just to say, hey, there's a new wallet. Okay, moving swiftly on. It's like, okay, this is a wallet. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to do a walkthrough. I'm going to learn how it works. I'm going to see why it's beneficial. And that sort of more long-form content creation, that customer journey or that walkthrough journey with a content creator, that's where you can create actual intimacy and actual conversion, because it's somebody else's opinion. Anyone who watches Marques Brownlee as a content creator on YouTube, he is excellent at doing the unboxing and the walkthroughs and the should I use this every day in 10 minutes or less. And that's what most lazy content creators, content consumers today want. They want someone else to tell them this is a good thing and show me quickly how it works without me having to do all the unboxing and the weird shit.
But he's also excellent in destroying companies.
That's another part of it. That's actually an interesting point, though. How do we protect the brand integrity? Because everything can go wrong. You don't know the audience of the KOL. You don't know what they're going to do. In case you want authenticity, then they need to do what they want to do with the guidance and control of it.
That's the fun part, right? Because you can write the script, you can prepare the brief, you can prepare the product overview and kind of hand that over and say, hey guys, this is what we'd like you to say, this is how we think it works, and half of the time it never does. Whether you like it or not, it just doesn't, because you've now put your stuff out into the world. But this is a really good test for you as a company, as a product, to say, did people understand what we're doing? If you gave them a brief, you actually walked them through, gave them white glove customer support to explain why your wallet or your product works really well, and they still get it wrong, that's not their fault, that's your fault. Because you have got the most intimate experience with a content creator around telling the story of your product or having someone tell the story of your product. And if it comes back wrong, or if it comes back not what you want, you've got two options. Thing one, you're not telling it clearly. Thing two is that's actually how the market does perceive you. And are you okay with that?
And what you're going to do with that.
And is that a good thing, right? I mean, there's a million stories of products that started off as something else. You know, super glue started in the military for kind of closing up wounds on the arm, and then people started suddenly using it to stick plastic together. And it's like, oh wow, we have a consumer product here. That's really cool, right?
And I thought it was the opposite way. I thought people started using super glue to glue their wounds. Yeah, so like the injuries. So thanks for that.
I mean, you can use it for either if you want to. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. But audiences mistaking or misrepresenting your stuff is generally a problem in crypto, because you don't want to be seen as something you're not, or you don't want to be misrepresented, because we are in a fairly tightly regulated industry. Our products are slightly complicated and often financialized. And the second people start losing money or start losing their investments because of something that was said that was not correct, or that wasn't checked with legal from whatever particular angle. Yes, you have all the disclaimers, not financial advice, always do your own research. You know, Mauricio reminds us of that at every post that he makes. You know, we're all in this for ourselves, but that's fine in the Web3 universe. Our risk tolerance is like through the roof. It could all go to zero and we're like, fine, we're all still early, don't worry, 10 more years, I'll make it back, right? Average Joe out there, the normies in the real world, are not wired the same way, right? If they lose 10 bucks today, like, fuck this shit, I want to speak to the manager, right? The Karen army is strong, they will come for you. And there are very many more of them than there are of us. That's not a good thing.
Depends how you look at it.
And you know, I use Karen in the universal term. There are male Karens, female Karens, non-binary Karens. There are Karens of every type and color.
I know, right? Okay, so how to make it a success? Not a blueprint, but how to make it a success for both sides. What we should be looking at.
Is the answer work with Flight 3?
You all can, and I'm very happy to talk with you, but no.
Did I get it right?
Or is it theMiracle?
How are you? I'm actually interested from both sides, and maybe we can start with Mo this time. Because he's more a data-driven person, and he's finding KOLs very top of the funnel, more exposure-driven marketing channel. So how you think we should make it a success?
Yeah, maybe a little about my background. I mean, I was once a KOL myself, and I see the mechanics. You know,
you still are. You still are. You never.
Maybe I'm now more than before. Because
everybody in here is a content creator to some extent, right? We're all on the same spectrum.
Because I saw many groups where I was part of, where many people just like each other's posts, comment under each other's posts, and 99% of those people will never comment by your product. So, and in the times of blockchain, where we have transparently wallets where we can look into, where we can see the user behavior, the spending behavior, where does this wallet go? Why we need someone in between, like a KOL, where we have those kind of risks, where as a brand we don't know how does this person communicate, articulate, is it conform with our, how can I say, conform with the brand identity. I know that we have those kind of issues because I am still the consultant of luxury brands in Web3, and we tried some KOL marketing, we tried spaces, we tried, many different things. And now I'm, let's say, blessed in a position where we finally can analyze the wallets, we see their spending power, and why we don't communicate there where they actually are, in the wallet, in the marketplaces. Why we have to search on X with a very bad algorithm. So what we do at theMiracle, I know I shouldn't chill, but I really love the product, and every client who tries it out is just like perplexed, because we try to find a reward that suits the on-chain activity of the person, and that suits the product and the client that looks for a desired target audience. And we get them there where he is, inside of the wallet. We don't need the friction of a KOL. I understand the KOL is important if it's maybe in a country where the product or the company doesn't have any market share. That's always important to work with people that understand the culture, that have a proper community. And if we're talking about the real KOLs, the ones that have like some ethics and morals, I definitely see an upside in working with them. But comparing metrics of success of KOL campaigns and data-driven wallet campaigns, we see 100x higher than.
Exactly. This is the important learning, is don't do only one of these things, do them both. But this is why at the beginning of the show I wanted to qualify why I think of KOLs as content creators, not as thought leaders. One, because very few of them have independent thoughts. Secondly, because actually the value of working with a content creator is the creation of content. Stick with me, I promise this isn't an oversimplification. when you search a product today, if you said, okay, I want to check out VeChain, or I want to check out VBetter, I saw that on the UFC mat when I was watching a fight the other day, or Anthony was wearing this hoodie, it had VBetter on it. What's VBetter? Why should I care about VBetter? That sounds like a cool name. It's obviously got something to do with VeChain because it's got V at the beginning. Okay, what's that about? I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm probably going to ask ChatGPT, why should I care about this? And it will give you a list of bullet points, and you may trust it or you may not. Or you're going to type it into YouTube, and you're going to say, YouTube, show me something that will help explain what this thing is. And you're not going to want to see my explanation of it. You're going to want to see Marques Brownlee's explanation of it, or you're going to see Mo or Olesia's explanation of it. You're going to be there to say, I want a third-party, independent person who's a bit like me, who talks to an audience like me, to create something that has 5 minutes of why should I care? And then probably break that down into the 30-second short of why should I care? Because the attention span of people nowadays is increasingly short. But that is meaningful content, because that content is now how people will engage with your product, or your service, or your solution, or your blockchain, or your ecosystem. When somebody comes in and says, okay, I'm going to give you the 30 seconds on the Solana ecosystem right now, here's what's to get excited about. Meme coins, more meme coins, and meme coins. Like, oh cool, I love meme coins, I want to go check that out. Or you get the 30 seconds on VeChain. Why should I care about VeChain? Oh, 50 apps, 5 million users, they're trying to help people do sustainable actions every day and reward them in crypto. Whoa, that sounds like fun. That was 5 seconds worth. I like that as a title. I'm going to go check it out. And maybe then they go to your website. Maybe then they download your wallet. Maybe then they follow the next video that content creator said is, here's my 5 favorite apps on VeChain. And they go check those things out. This is where that sort of peer-generated or independently generated content does work, because that is actual conversion. It's kind of hard to drive that authentically because it has to come from the creator. You're trusting that the people you're working with can represent your product in an independent way without getting it wrong, but also will maintain their style and their engagement in a way that they can actually talk on behalf of what you've done. It's the last authentic review model that I think exists, because everything else is bots, everything else is AI, everything else is non-authentic, and every other form of engagement is probably driven by a machine or not.
Not human to human.
Not human to human.
Yeah.
Also, on the bots, that's bad for now. We're going to want the bots next. Because whether you like it or not, we live in the world of agentic actions that will be acting on behalf of humans in future. So whether you like it or not, the bots will be doing genuine human intents and acting on behalf of humans wanting to use apps, buy products, etc. This is going to be the next stage where actually you want to be able to track how many bots you've attracted, because those bots are actually carrying wallets. They are carrying intent. And so the bots are bad for now, but they will be good next. And that's going to be a really complicated stage of how do we do digital marketing.
So now you all know what you need to do with your bots inside Telegram and other apps, track them before they start tracking you. We've got, I think, 3 or 2 minutes left. So based on the chat that we just had here, we know that it's harder to get to your audience. We know that we need to use multiple channels in order to get what we really need, in order to engage with the users, to get to the right user, and to actually bring and keep the right user with us through all the journey. Where do you think we'll land next year, when I will have you, hopefully?
I want to ask you that question. What is the last 6 months of working with, so we work together on a almost daily basis, right? And so 6 months ago.
Usually I ask questions, so.
6 months, in an incredibly short cycle, in 6 months, we've gone from doing big brand awareness campaigns to very specific. Why am I telling this story? What have we?
He came in.
What
and said, I want to test.
What have we changed in the last 6 months? What's been the hard part for you? That previously paying KOLs to just make videos was really, really easy, right? And so that's the easiest part of your job is, well, these are the 10 people we work with.
And it's the most boring one. There's the results come when it's complicated, when it's not working from the first time. So what we've done with VeChain is we've flipped influencer marketing 360. So we've been working with a bunch of KOLs, very high-performing one, huge engagement, great top of the funnel metrics, but they were not driving stakes, like at all. They were not giving us what we actually need. And then we're like, okay, scrap it. We just, sorry, they're getting distraction. So we're like, okay, so we're going to work with smaller ones. We are going to do more educational content. Okay, we're going to look into different channels. We're going to look into re-engaging and bringing it more to ambassador channels. So it's not just KOLs as a channel. So we connected it to be a part of the funnel. Okay?
That's it.
And there's going to be a lot of memes after this conference.
We've turned the funnel into a pyramid, actually. So the funnel is the thing that you want, right? You want as large an audience as possible, and you want to bring them through the different stages of being aware of your stuff, finding your stuff, maybe engaging with your stuff, and then actually being a regular or loyal supporter of your thing. To be able to reach those people, you need, like I said at the start, you need to be doing everything. Whether you like it or not, you need a mix of everything, because if you're not doing everything, you're missing out on potential channels. And so you have a total budget, and the way we think about it is at the very bottom we have team-generated content, our general marketing stuff, right? We put stuff out, we put out tweets, we put out press releases. You might find that, you might not. And when you see it from us, you might like it, you might not, because, oh, that's corporate marketing, it's bullshit, it's probably not true, or I don't care, press release, not interesting to me. Sitting above that baseline is user-generated content. Okay, that's coming from fans, from people on Twitter. Everyone's seen the reposts and the bull posting and the, this token can break out, or this wallet's better than everything, Cardano could go to $25 billion by the end of the year. Watch this. It's like, okay, half of this is nonsense, but some of it's actually kind of useful. And so being able to start that content creator journey with everyday humans and have them posting user-generated content is a good thing. Then you want to bring the intimacy a little bit closer. So what Olesia said is ambassadors. These are people who you give bounties to, rewards, a reward in exchange for posting something about us that we're interested in. Sorry. Ambassadors.
It's lunchtime, so now you know that the next one that you can talk with us about on the lunch break can be ambassadors.
Well,
Thank you.
If it's lunch break next, then we're not going to get kicked off the stage.
Yes, no, that was great. Thank you for staying with us all the time. And make sure that you invest not only in the one thing, okay? Thank you.